about the controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and Nawat in Thailand as it relates to the 2025 Miss Universe pageant. But there are aspects of this particular dialogue that you may have missed that can actually help you learn how to communicate better under pressure as a woman in leadership. Now, if this sounds like a topic that you are interested in learning more about, then you absolutely want to watch this video until the end, because I'm going to dive into how you can really pay close attention to the subtle cues and statements that are made to people to know when you're about to go under pressure as a woman in leadership. Now, there's a lot of things I'm going to share with you in this very short live today, but as I mentioned, this is a video you do not want to miss, because if you are in a leadership role, if you are in my audience that I work with directly in terms of women in leadership, where I provide executive one-on-one coaching services to or group services to, you're going to learn a lot from this video. If you happen to not be in my audience, maybe you are a woman that is not a leader yet, or perhaps you are a man in leadership, the strategies I'm going to share with you today are universal, and you're going to learn a lot of information about how to communicate under pressure. I'm going to break this down because many people missed how powerful this particular interaction was to the world as women that are leaders, to the world of Miss Universe, and to leaders in general. So let's dive into how you can pick up and determine when you are under pressure. That's the first thing. A lot of my clients, when they come to me and they're in those higher level leadership roles, maybe they are C-suites, they're VPs, they're managers, they may be public officials, and etc., and they need to communicate at a higher level. They ask me, well, I need to learn how to communicate under pressure, but I just don't know exactly how to do it. Well, the first way for you to learn how to communicate under pressure is you need to know that you are about to be under pressure. So we're going to dive into that today. If you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay, friend, and I'm glad that you're here today. I appreciate you stopping by. This is a live video. Therefore, there is a point in time where people join the conversation. So give me just a few moments to say hello to everyone. And then we're going to dive into what you missed in this particular controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and Nawat in Thailand for the 2025 Miss Universe event. I'm going to share with you how you can determine when you're under pressure. Keep in mind, if you have to communicate as a leader under pressure, you need to know when it's about to happen. So I'm going to break down some of the things that Nawat did in the conversation that I saw to showcase to you when you start seeing cues like this, and when people start talking to you in this way, then you know you're about to go under pressure, and you have to adjust how you communicate to that individual in that particular scenario. So I want to say welcome to those of you who are joining live today. I appreciate you being here. Let me know what your thoughts are about the controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and Nawat in Thailand for the 2025 Miss Universe pageant. Let me know in the comments below. Did you all see it? Did you see what happened? Let me know. I'd like to see what your thoughts are about this topic specifically. Now, to preface this, whenever you're looking at videos, and I've looked at several videos of the interaction that happened between the two of them, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of things that happen to make things appear very, very bad. And it was bad. Now, it was bad. It was bad. Sometimes people do edits and things are not as bad as they were, but no, in this case, no, it was bad. So that's one thing. So let me say hello to Candy Calms. Why? How you doing today? Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And did you take a look at the videos regarding this controversy with Miss Mexico and Nawat? Let me know in the comments below. So I want to preface this by saying that, one, there's a lot of editing, and I did take a look at a lot of videos. I will say, and I mentioned this influencer's name in the description because I am very unbiased and very objective when it comes to these type of situations. And I actually saw in her video, she actually explained the process of pageantry and etc. in such detail that made it make really sense. So her name, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, hopefully I am, is Leek, I believe, Uthia. I have to take a look at it again, but I did put it in the description below, but she has some really good information on there also. And it's a good video that she had just to talk about it. But nonetheless, let's see. Candy Combs is from El Salvador. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Yes, so let me see, because I don't want to mess up this lady's name. I really don't, because she had some really great information. It says, I believe it's Lake Euthia, possibly. It's on my phone. I don't know if you see that. So she had some really good information. And the title of the video was Miss Universe Pageant Controversy Between Miss Mexico and Nawat in Thailand. So if I pronounce her name incorrectly, I'm sorry about that. But she has a really good objective video about it. It's very helpful. All right, so Candy Calm says you can just call me Candy. Okay, well, welcome, Candy. Hope you're doing well today. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this situation. So how do you, as a leader, be able to respond when you're under pressure? You have to know when you're under pressure, first of all. What is happening to make you think you're under pressure? Now, if you've watched the video or the interaction you have, or if you have not watched it, check out a few of the clips. You'll see the dialogue they had. And the first thing that stood out to me, and this is something I want you all to keep in mind when you're in these situations. Maybe you're in a group. I will tell you by default, if you are communicating with a group as a leader, especially as a woman in leadership, man in leadership, you're automatically under pressure, because there's people that are watching you, that are trying to see what you are trying to say. Now, what happened in this case is the first thing that I noticed, and as I mentioned, I was not there, obviously, but I'm just looking at videos in terms of what people were playing, is that he addressed her as Mexico at the very beginning. And I'll tell you right now, when you are trying to determine if you're going to be under pressure or not, how someone speaks to you, how they communicate to you, will make the difference in terms of how you should respond. If someone addresses you appropriately, that's fine. But in this case, he said it in a very not respectful way. He didn't say, where is Miss Mexico, which would have been more important, because remember, these women are leaders, okay? They are leaders. They are not there just because they are beautiful people. They are beautiful people, but these women are leaders in their country, which is why, for me personally, this is my target audience. Working with women in leadership, this is really, really important. So he has to address them appropriately. So therefore, if you're watching this, if someone addresses you in a tone that's not appropriate, not respectful, that's your first cue that you're about to go into pressure. All right, let me look in the chat. We have Kate, the creator. Welcome, Kate. Hope you're doing well today. And we have Ruth Adusai 4399, friend. If I mispronounce your name, friend, I'm sorry about that. But welcome. Let me know where y'all are joining from in the big beautiful world today. So I talked a little bit about, we're talking about how do you determine when you're about to be under pressure as a leader. How do you determine when this is about to happen? And we're breaking down the controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and Nawat in Thailand for the Miss Universe pageant that's going on this year. Okay, as I mentioned, he addressed her as, where's Mexico? He specifically said, where's Mexico? That in itself is disrespectful. Where is Miss Mexico would have been more appropriate, instead of saying, where's Mexico? He already set the tone saying that. I don't care about her. Where is she at? That, number one, cue that you're about to go under pressure. The next thing that he mentioned, and this is the videos that I have seen, and I'm just recapping what I saw, was his tone of voice. So he was obviously upset about something, and there was some dialogue, and the lady I mentioned, Leak, in the description below, in her video, she goes a bit more into the pageantry process, what this all means, and really what the issue was. So I'm not in a place to do that. That's not my territory. That's not my role. I was in a pageant when I was a child, and that was nowhere near where these ladies are. So you can look a little bit more if you want to learn more about it. But his tone of voice obviously came across that he was really, 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 really upset. And when someone is communicating with you in a type of way where you can feel that they're really upset, then you know you're about to go under pressure. You know that something's about to happen. You're about to go under pressure in this particular situation. What do? You need to address and adjust your tone of voice accordingly. Your tone of voice when you're going under pressure, it cannot be that same tone of voice that you have all the time. I talk about this a lot on my channel. There's several videos that talk about tone of voice, particularly on my live tab, especially when you are needing to adjust your tone of voice to interact or counteract someone that is trying to be a bit more aggressive with you. Your tone of voice definitely needs to be a bit lower. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on that right now, but I do want to at least mention to you that your tone of voice is very, 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 very important when you are under pressure. So let me see what's going on in the chat. So Candy says this is not the type of live stream I'd watch. Well, that's okay, Candy, because in this particular live stream, what I do is I help leaders learn how to communicate under pressure. And so I understand that this topic is not your random YouTube type of topic where, you know, people may be saying some things that are silly or maybe finance based or etc. My channel here really focuses in on those advanced level communication skills that women in leadership need, men in leadership need, anyone that is trying to be a leader really needs to have in order to elevate themselves and make that big impact on the world. So if this isn't the type of stream you watch, that's fine, no problem whatsoever. I'm glad that you stopped by. I know this topic is definitely more type of advanced in terms of how you communicate, because that's who I work with. But I'm glad you stopped by to say hello. Now, as I mentioned, we talked about two things so far. We talked about how he addressed Miss Mexico. That's one way to cue you, you're going under pressure. If somebody addresses you in a way that's disrespectful, you already know you need to get ready to be under pressure. The second was a tone of voice. As I mentioned, his tone of voice was not positive. It was sound like he was really, 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 really upset. And this is a cue for you to know if someone's speaking to you in a very upset tone of voice, you need to adjust how you communicate with them. Do not communicate in your normal, maybe cordial way. You have to communicate in a more affirmative, more direct way, and know that, okay, I'm about to go under pressure. Now, I'm going to give you one more thing, and I'm going to probably dive more into this later this evening when I go live. Let me know what questions you have about specifically, but I really want you all to learn this information, because many times when people do not know how to communicate under pressure, it's because they simply have not seen it happen. And if you watch this dialogue, you will learn a lot about communicating under pressure, especially as a woman in leadership. And if you're a man in leadership, you're going to learn a lot about it too, because this is very, 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 very helpful. Now, the last thing I want to share with you very quickly is the way he was moving his hands. So you have to be very observant when someone's communicating with you in a aggressive way that is indicating they're going to put you under pressure. In his video, I'm going to show you, there was a couple times where you saw his hand going like this. He was holding the microphone one hand and putting his hand down like this. This, I'm telling you, is a sign that someone is about to put you under pressure. Why? Because normally our hands are not communicating in that way unless you are upset about something. Therefore, if you happen to be in a situation where you're communicating under pressure, if you see someone moving their hands in a downward motion, it is almost as if that person, maybe they're not saying it, but they are indicating that they're not happy with something. They just want to knock it down. They just want to knock it down. That is what you missed when you watched this interaction. And this is why I hope you enjoy this information, because this is what my channel is about, is breaking down these situations so that you can communicate at a higher level. And when you're in those situations in your life, when you see someone's hand doing certain type of gestures, you know, okay, I need to get ready, because this person, I need to communicate and I'm about to be under pressure. Now, I shared with you a couple strategies today. As I mentioned, there's a lot more that I can go into, and I will this week, because this is a really important topic, not only for people that are in my target audience, which are women in leadership, but also for those of you who are not in my target audience. If you are a woman that is not a leader just yet, or if you are a man that is in a leadership role, you need to know when you're about to go under pressure. That's the very, 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 very most important thing in terms of thinking on your feet and being under pressure. You have to know when this is about to happen. And a lot of times people are completely caught off guard, because they do not know when under pressure is happening. If you pay attention to those very subtle signs that people do in a non-verbal way, or even in a verbal way, you'll be able to pick up pretty quickly when they're about to put you under pressure and respond accordingly. I appreciate you all for being here today, and let me know if you have some questions about this specifically. I will help you be that person that communicates at a higher level than your peers. Okay, so we have Candy said something about fundamental paper education. Okay. And Candy said, I subbed. Well, thank you, Candy. I appreciate you being here. This is a place if you're trying to elevate. If you're trying to elevate how you communicate and communicate at a higher level than your peers, then Candy, you are going to gain a tremendous amount of knowledge here. This channel is built on real life experience. I've been in senior leadership roles for over 20 years as a C-suite, as a director, as a manager. I've been on the news, and I've also had the opportunity to interact with congressional leaders on the national level here in the United States, and then on the state level here in the Sunshine State of Florida. So you're going to learn how to communicate under pressure and be that person that communicates in a very concise and articulate and confident way when those challenges come up. So I appreciate you all for being here today. Appreciate your dialogue. Join me later this evening to go live, and we'll dive more into this topic, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.